Welcome to Black Girl Say Something, where this black girl has something to say. And on this episode, I just want to say thank you for everyone that's been tuning in. Thank you for all the new listeners. I see y'all listening. Thank you for all the international listeners and everyone that tunes into Black Girl Say Something. I really, really appreciate you. So this episode, as you know, as the new year was coming in, I kind of took a turn. You know, if you listen to the old episodes, things are a lot better a year later. I'm doing really well on my journey. The journey to healing is continuous. And I would like to say in any event, it may be infinite. You never stop healing, but the journey is one to invite change and, set new boundaries and continue to learn and grow and be who you are. And, today was one of those days I was like, okay, I hadn't had therapy in a couple of weeks and I had therapy today. And interestingly enough, I got into a new position. I'm professoring full time. And while I love to teach, needless to say, I do not like the politics or the administrative side of it all. I love teaching. And so, I was telling my therapist, I'm questioning, did I make the right decision going into this full time, considering that I was just new to it last year, only 3 or 4 months in, and was part time. And now I'm full time. And I think I've bitten off a little more than I could chew. And she said something that piqued my interest, and I think I want to share it with you all, was, do you think, because there's a series of things that had taken place, or conversations, I should say. And she asked me, do you think that the way you feel is a trauma response to things that you've experienced before, or are these things already happening now? And this is why I say healing is continuous, because we will be put in certain situations. While I have a really great opportunity to grow as a professor, to grow my portfolio as a program coordinator and all of that good stuff, I could potentially, shoot myself in the foot by not acknowledging that I'm still on this journey to healing, right? And being able to say, take a step back and say, are these things really happening to me, or is it in my head? Now, before, and that's not to negate the people who actually go through things and experience them, right? But if I could be honest with you, nothing has happened yet that has allowed me to feel like things are happening. I'm very much in my head. I'm very much feeling like maybe I shouldn't have done this. And it was only because I had a really rough week. And I think the week was only rough because I'm getting acclimated to policies, procedures, and things of that nature as now being full time. Also, I, mentally was feeling, I don't want to take so much time away from what I've been or who I've been to my children. That was the whole purpose of me going into full-time entrepreneurship 5 years ago. So I want to maintain that flexibility. And so then she asked me about my boundaries as far as my work boundaries went. And I was like, I have no issue with my work boundaries, because once I leave, I leave. Now, as a professor, yes, I have classes that I administer online, and I don't believe in managing your time, but you manage the assignment. So if I say I'm going to spend an hour grading papers and I don't finish grading those papers in an hour, I'm not going to go over the hour. I'm pretty good about that. I did have to set a boundary with the dean of the program. He kept introducing me, and this was like the first couple of days. He kept introducing me. Matter of fact, the first day, he kept introducing me to people by my married name, doctor with my married name, and I had to. By the second day, he was sending an email to someone who's unrelated to the university and introducing me, and I had to stop him and let him know that is not let's leave that name off. And he asked me why, and I told him, I said, because when I was finishing my doctorate, my children's father filed for divorce. And he was like, oh, sorry to hear that. And I was like, no need to be sorry, but make the correction. And so he did. And it just furthers the the idea for those of you who are in a process or newly creating boundaries, because I know we talk about it. And it's one thing to say, I'm not going to deal with that person anymore. But how do you set boundaries with people that you continuously have to deal with? You just do it. The people who, are not willing to respect said boundary are the people who don't have any level of respect for you to begin with. And for me, I very much felt like he was going to not take what I said at face value and ask more questions, and he didn't. And I was appreciative of that, and I appreciated myself, matter of fact. I'm not going to even say I appreciate him. I appreciate myself for stating the boundary. I didn't have to give a reason, but I did. And I'm just so proud of me in that aspect. And so I told my therapist, I was like, that was my win for the week. And while it might be small, that was my win for the week. We have to be able to, in this healing journey, give ourselves a pat on the back sometimes. I think a lot of times for me, it was if I measured my strength by how strong I could be for other people, then I'm very, very strong. And I was like, I'm glad I stopped doing that. And I realized being able to just be strong for myself, allow me the ability to be even stronger for my children, allow me the ability to be even stronger in whatever areas I wanted to excel in. Instead of trying to just find balance, but there was no balance because I was balancing and juggling everything for everyone else. And so, now that I'm out of my head and I've spoken to my therapist, I feel a lot lighter. I think, sometimes thinking about all of the things that could go wrong, all of the fires that need to be put out. I just got in this position. If they're anticipating for me to put out fires, hey, listen, I'm no firefighter, but I will exit stage left immediately because these were not my fires to put out. Now, she asked me, do you feel unsupported in the work that you're doing? And I said, that's the thing. I've been told that I wasn't going to have any support, but I also feel like everything that has been asked of me, I've been able to complete to the best of my ability. And she was like, that's all you can do. And I think being an eldest daughter, an eldest child, this notion of strong Black woman, I think sometimes we look past, sometimes all I can do is my best. And if my best is just getting it done and if my best is asking for help and getting it done, then I did my best. If my best is completing it in a timely fashion, I did my best. And so I'm in this place on my healing journey where I'm learning to give myself enough grace, where I'm learning to give myself the same grace that I have afforded to others. Giving myself the same grace that I have afforded to others for I'm 35. So I'm going to say from maybe as far back as I can remember, which would be 10 years old. So for the last 25 years, I've been taught to give all people grace, give them grace. Maybe they'll do. No, time out for that. It's time for me to give myself enough grace. And so I think that's what this episode is going to be called, because I started this episode with no topic. Honestly, just something that I wanted to share and recap what a week it's been. And it hasn't been a tumultuous week. It's actually been a really good week. I've learned a lot about myself this week coming into being a full-time professor. One, I serve outfits. I love to dress up and go to the school and teach. I love that. But I also have come to learn I do not like the administrative side of things. And because I don't know how long I would last, how long I'm going to keep my tenure as far as being, a coordinator of sorts. But being a professor, I love it. I love interacting with the students. I love being a part of student engagement. And I think since the position is still fairly new to me, let this episode serve as a bookmark of the beginning, right? So I'm just letting you all know, I had let you all know a few episodes ago that I was offered the position and how excited I was. And now I'm letting you all know I have been in the position at least 1 week, and I'm just like, I don't know if I'm right for this position. Not necessarily because I can't get the job done, but because I'm realizing what I like and what I don't like about the position. And I love interacting with the students. I love mentoring the students. I love assisting them. I love teaching. Some of the classes I'm teaching are classes that are near and dear to my heart. Minority healthcare. Another professor has requested that I speak to his class on racial disparities in healthcare for Black History Month. So those are the things that I like to do. And quite frankly, I've been speaking on health and wellness topics for so long. So it's really heartwarming to know that I can get paid for the fruits of my labor. But I don't want to be over-labored and then I can't enjoy the fruits. And yeah, again, this episode is give yourself enough grace this week. Give yourself enough grace. Coming into the new year can be so mind-boggling because it's like everyone's like, create a vision board, set your goals, do this, do that. And in all honesty, I just wanted to use the beginning of the year to reflect on the previous year. And then at some point when in the springtime, typically around my daughter's birthday, she's turning 13 in March, and she has me planning another cruise. So, of course, introducing her to cruise life, I think that's what she wants to do from now on. But in the spring, I'm definitely going to look over those reflections and create goals based on that. Now, I'm still in this place where I've created my intentions, and one of my top intentions for the 2023 is to be divorced, is to have my divorce finalized. So that's where I'm at. But give yourself enough grace. The year just started. If the ball gets dropped, it gets dropped. All you got to do is just pick it back up and keep it rolling, Give yourself enough grace. That grace that you afford to others, let me tell you, once you start giving it to yourself, you feel so light. You don't feel so bogged down and heavy-hearted and like the weight is on your shoulders. So I encourage you, if this episode encouraged you, share it with at least one person. And remember, you can tune into Black Girl Say Something every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Remember to tune in on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor FM, and Podvine. And more platforms coming soon. And don't forget, we're on Instagram, TikTok. We are on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and Twitter. All of them are Black Girl Say Something. So you can find us there. And there will be a link in the description box where you can tune in to exclusive episodes. And the exclusive episode that's getting ready to come out, I got to tell y'all about that second date that I went on with that gentleman. So tune into that. That will be dropping shortly. Thank you for listening.